hope everybody's all right. A quick Roblox logo. Once I've done this, hi Minifig. Once I've done this, I'm going to do a quick shading tutorial, basic shading. I had a couple of people asking me to do a Roblox logo, so I thought, why not? First of all, I said I'm not doing that because I had a look at it and it's just literally this square. But my wife said, yeah, you should do it. They've asked you for it, so do it. So I'm doing it. Once I've done that, we can have a bit of fun with some shading, some basic shading tutorial. Neaten it up a little bit. Logo or a bit silvery, so I'll just use my brush to drag some of that. Leave it light at the top to make it look like I'm guessing that's what it's supposed to be. I never played Roblox, so that's that. That's the Roblox emblem done, and then we'll do a from the Roblox. There we go, we've done the Roblox. Right, now we can have a bit of fun doing some shading. So I've already got the background in. This is basic shading. Get this position right. So I've got the light source. If you can see that, I've got the light source coming in from this direction. So I'm going to be putting shadow on the left hand side of these basic shapes. really good practice to practice your shading skills. So I'll start off with the sphere. Around here. Just trying to work out where the light's not going to hit, obviously. Pretty straightforward stuff. So I'm going for quite dark, but I'm not going to go right up to the edge, because if you've seen my other videos, you never go dark right to the edge. Reflective light bouncing back. So you'll have reflective light bouncing from this cube that it's sitting on, or this box. But it's never as light as this light, the direct light. So you've got direct light, shadow, reflective light. This is how I learned to shade. I never used a brush when I was little. I didn't realise you could use a brush, so I literally spent my time doing this all the time. But using a brush makes it so much easier and quicker. But I'm going to do this, for the time being, I'm going to do it without a brush. All I'm doing is lightening. Hello. New one there, new sub, thanks for tuning in, hope you're alright. So, for the time being, I'm just going to use my charcoal pencil. As well. There's a few different ways of shading. You can do straight lines, cross hatching, so straight line one direction, straight line the other direction. Call that cross hatching. A lot of artists, they'll do different directions. Circles, because you're covering everything doing circles. You're covering all the directions. And I'm keeping it quite light, so you're probably not going to notice any difference in tone, but there is a difference if you just keep going over it. And I'm not putting any pressure on when I'm doing that. Just keeping my pencil just nice and light. Little circular motions. So now we've got the basic sphere. I'm going to use my brush. Movements. And I'm going to pull some of this darkness down into the reflective, just to darken it up a little bit, because again, we don't want the reflective light to be as light as the direct light. It's always got to be a bit darker, sort of half the darkness in between. That's what it stands for. DM. How you doing, mate? Thanks for joining us again. Just doing some basic shading tutorials tonight. We've also done I don't know if you can see that. Remember if that other person asking me to do the Roblox logo, so I've already done that one. You've missed that one, I think, maybe. I don't know. Don't know how long you've been here. So that's the sphere done pretty much, but I am going to darken it up a bit later, and I'll probably lighten this area up later as well. I want to get everything to the same sort of standard. Godzilla 666 Nice to see you, mate. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for that. So I'm going to go for some shadow line underneath this sphere. I could do it with a sharper pencil, actually. Pencil's not quite up to it because I've been using it for that. So I could do it, turning it a little bit. And sharp underneath, quite dark underneath as well. The shadow's going to be strongest right underneath that sphere, and then it's going to fade out slightly. The shadow line's going to fade out, so it's not going to be as dark as I'm going further to the left. Of course, the shadow's going to be a lot less strong. I think I'll go down here next. Shape's done. I'll have it slightly darker than the background as well, just so that it stands out a little bit against that background. To drawing and you're just learning, this is just really good practice to get you shading basic shapes. I used to do this when I was very young. I'd draw my name, or I'd draw some big block letters stood up. I've put a couple of them on my channel from when I was about probably 14, 15 maybe. So I draw the perspective. Thanks, Dharma. Nice for you to join us. So yeah, I used to do some big blocks, lettering, and put shadows, heavy shadows behind it, just to practice. And I say it all the time, the more you practice, I'm doing this without thinking. I've been doing it that long. Oops. Dark around here. Same tone all the way through, it'll look a bit flat. I want to keep a little bit of interest. Basic shapes. Still want to keep a little bit of interest. So now I'm going to do the shadow line from the cube, box, whatever. Basic values down first. Just pulling sideways the direction of the shadow. Further to the left, it's going to just lighten up. It's not going to be as heavy. And right underneath, I'm going to put it darker. I'm going to press on a little bit harder, just to create a darker shadow line. and then blend it out. So just pulling away, lightening my stroke a little bit. Part of the whole shadow. There we go. I could go a bit darker, I think. You're probably sick of me saying it, but go darker, it always looks better. I think. It looks more dramatic when you go darker. So this needs to be darker than the top. The top one's got all the light. So we're gonna go in between the shadow line and the direct light one. Somewhere in between on this. And coming in it here from this shape. First. So even though these are basic shapes, you know, you're creating something on a flat surface that's two-dimensional, which is, I just find it interesting. I always have done, trying to make something stand out that's on a flat surface. Line in first so I know where it is, because I'm going to be shading over it in a minute. And now I can finish off that half value in between the dark shadow line and the light. There we go. How's that looking? Good. Right, I'm going to go a bit darker on the sphere. Now I've looked at it again. That needs to be darker, definitely. You know, if you do, don't be scared. Try not to be scared of going too dark. I look back at my old drawings and I just want to go over them again because they're so blooming light, and I just think, why did I go so light? But obviously when you're younger, you just, when you're a beginner to whatever you're doing, you're just learning. It's easier to blend. Yeah, it probably is a little bit easier to blend. It's easier to create different effects with it, definitely. It's more versatile, I think, than graphite. But you can blend graphite really easily with a brush as well. The problem with graphite is you can't go black with it. It's never black. Graphite, it's always grey. Even the darkest ones, you know, your 6Bs, 8B, it's never black. And it just, I like to get things really, really, really dark. And if I press on with this, it is going to be black. I don't want it to be black, obviously. It is probably black right underneath that sphere. So, line coming in here. pencil's gone all... I need a nice sharp bit for underneath. I'll just position that so you can see it a bit better. How long have I been? 20 minutes. And again, it's going to be really dark underneath. There we go. And then shapes. Pencil with the shape. You know, right there. I'm going round with it. Round, round, round. I don't want to go that way. Ideally, you want to be following the contour of the shape. That's that bit. So I'm going to put the face on this now. So that bit maybe a little bit darker. It's shade. It's pointing more towards the direction away from the light source, so it probably needs to be a little bit darker than that. But if we get some basic values in first, then we can always fine tune it afterwards. So we'll get the basics in. Basics are in. Now I can darken it up a little bit. Problem is I'm going to darken this up, then I'm going to be darkening this up because these two are very similar. And this, I'm going to darken this up first. Let's do that first because it needs to be darker. There's not that much difference between this and that. So we need to definitely make a big difference between it. So. That's a bit better. And this up as well. I'm going to go over that bit again. Make this a little bit darker. a little bit. Bit on the base of these shapes. Sound. Right, I'm just going to darken up this round here a little bit. Bit of that out, I can find my kneading eraser, putty eraser. Brush first. Then we'll just put a spotlight. A little bit of light. Do do do. There's underneath there as well. Right, that's that one done. We'll get a bit of a close up on it. We've got the Roblox logo and we had a bit of a tutorial on shading. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.